The operation, coordinated with other state agencies, resulted in significant success in combating transnational crimes, reaffirming the commitment to freedom of navigation, the security of trade routes, and the defense of the country's critical infrastructure.
Filho do Guantão. The Brazilian Navy made a high-impact strategic move, which confirms its historic partnership with the United States, and indirectly sends a message to the current Brazilian government that it is strengthening its maritime cooperation with the U.S. Southern Command. This gesture reinforces the importance of the Blue Amazon, which is an oceanic area of more than 5 million square kilometers under national jurisdiction, which represents not only natural wealth but also vital space for defense and for combating transnational organized crime. Despite the political tensions between the Planalto Palace and Washington, the Brazilian Navy maintains a line of strategic continuity, preserving ties of cooperation and technological advancement. This stance demonstrates that, even in the face of diplomatic clashes, national defense cannot be held hostage to partisan disputes. The naval alliance with the United States is seen as essential to ensure interoperability and the ability to respond to growing threats.
These maritime staff talks strengthen this relationship. We established common objectives to achieve through 3 lines of effort and very significant milestones along the way for those LOEs. We are very excited about the results that we will achieve in the upcoming 5 years.
This move by the Brazilian Navy worries the Brazilian president, who may see the gesture as a threat to his government plans. Welcome to Vida no Quartel. The 20th Naval Operations Committee, known as Maritime Staff Talks, was held in New Orleans, United States, and it brought together representatives of the Brazilian Navy, including the Navy General Staff, the Naval Operations Command, and the Marine Corps. The presence of the Brazilian Naval Attaché in the United States reinforced the commitment to maintaining an active naval partnership. This meeting showed that regardless of political differences, military cooperation remains strong. With the rise of organized crime and the classification of Brazilian factions as narco-terrorists, the White House may request maritime support from the Brazilian Navy for joint operations. Music. Transnational crime is already present on maritime routes, and U.S. Southern Command has been carrying out frequent attacks against vessels linked to cartels in the Caribbean and the Pacific. The possibility of extending these actions to the Atlantic reinforces the need for bilateral cooperation. The agreement signed for bilateral maritime cooperation marked a milestone in the implementation of the new Maritime Staff Dialogue structure. This approach is aimed at planning and coordinating joint actions over the next 5 years. Institutional briefings and debates were held on interoperability, maritime situational awareness, and cooperation in regional security, including coastal and riverine areas. Throughout the committee, the delegations from both countries worked on building a strategic vision using the operational design methodology. Common objectives, lines of effort, and milestones to be achieved were established. This joint effort reinforces the commitment of Brazil and the United States to maritime security, regional stability, and the strengthening of the operational capabilities of naval and marine forces. Even in the face of gradual budget cuts in the Brazilian armed forces, the Navy strives to remain operational.
At this opportune time, I address the crew of the Brazilian Navy with the purpose of praising achievements and continuous demonstrations of professionalism in the service of our country. Imbued with the values that shaped it, the naval force overcame rough seas with prudence and steadfastness of purpose in the face of material and operational challenges.
The institutional and financial challenges are significant. It is evident that the politicization of national defense has generated great internal polarization.
And the blocking of 4.3 billion reais in the Ministry of Defense's budget led the Brazilian army to suspend monitoring operations on the country's borders.
The long-term vision for strengthening Brazil's military needs to be treated as a matter of state policy, not just government policy. In this context, international cooperation is vital to maintain response capability. The Brazilian Navy recently commanded the Joint Task Force, which is an organization belonging to the Southern Command, until February of this year, when the command was handed over to the United Kingdom. Filho do Guantão. This fact confirms the relevance of the Brazilian Navy as a strategic part of hemispheric defense. Active participation in this command reinforces the international credibility of the Brazilian naval force. Among the missions of the Joint Task Force, one of the main ones is to use shared intelligence to degrade, dismantle, and financially weaken cartels and criminal organizations. The Brazilian Navy, even though it is not formally part of the Shield of the Americas program, acts as part of the integrated maritime effort coordinated by the Southern Command. This action shows that Brazil is a key player in the fight against transnational organized crime, even though the current Brazilian leader does not consider the PCC and Comando Vermelho as narco-terrorist factions. Bilateral maritime cooperation also strengthens the ability to respond to hybrid threats, such as drug, arms, and human trafficking. The integration of monitoring systems and the exchange of strategic information enhance situational awareness and allow for faster and more effective actions. In this scenario, the Brazilian Navy positions itself as a reliable and indispensable partner for the Pentagon's plans. In this scenario, the Brazilian Navy demonstrates that, even in the face of internal challenges and political differences, it maintains its strategic relevance in the hemisphere. The strengthening of cooperation with the United States is a clear message that national defense cannot be neglected. The fight against organized crime requires integration, technology, and a long-term vision, and the Brazilian Navy has been demonstrating readiness to fulfill this role. Here on Vida No Cuartel, you stay up to date with everything happening in the military world. Leave a like, subscribe, and watch one of the videos that's appearing on your screen. Onward, fighters. See you next time.